Okay, in this video, I will explain a little bit more about units and combat mechanics. So, with your unit, when you click on the left-hand side, this part of the interface is what controls your units. In this screen, you can see all the units you currently have, different infantry units, and their how many of them you have. 924 infantry units of this type, for example, and so on, cavalry and artillery. And this is the view, this is your warlord. So you place units in the available slots in your warlords. And when you send your units on a mission, you actually send the warlord itself. You don't send individual units. Now unit types, how to choose which one to use. So you can see different units have different strengths. For example, this Hornet Whirlwind has 32 strengths. Battery Fire has 44, and Flame Mantis has 66. You would think that it's better to use strongest unit. However, each of them has also an additional bonus. For example, Hornet Whirlwind has 55% fighting strength against goblins. Goblins are neutral units. Battery Fire has bonus against infantry, and Flame Mantis has bonus against artillery. So when you choose which units to use, it's very important to look at these bonus modifiers. For example, if I want to fight neutral goblins in my town, I can have a look what unit types they are. So if I hover my mouse over them, I can see that the first one is infantry. Look at the bottom left corner, it's helmet. It means that it's infantry. The second was also infantry. The third one is cavalry. So it means that the enemy is mostly infantry, a little bit of cavalry as well. So when I'm choosing which unit to use, I can choose either Hornet Whirlwind with bonus against goblins, or I could choose Petrifiers with bonus against infantry. Either of them are a good option. However, the first one with bonus against goblins, it's generally cheaper unit, and it's generally better to use them against goblins and reserve other unit types to fight other players. So let's choose, I've chosen all 3 slots with the same unit type, again with bonus against goblins. The other thing that you can equip your warlord with is items. So if you look at the inventory, I don't have any free items, but I already have 2 items equipped. Each item has unique bonus, so just read and see what they do. So these 2 items are increasing fighting strength of infantry by 7%. And the total strength of my warlord, of my army, is 85,000. If I, for example, remove this item, it goes down. So I didn't change any units, but just remove an artifact, strength went down. So I'll keep them both. Another thing that you can do is warlord skill tree. So each warlord, you can increase slot capacity, you can increase slot strength, you can increase speed and morale. So by increasing slot capacity, you will make your warlords, you can fit in more units. But if you increase slot strength, each unit becomes a little bit stronger. It means it becomes more efficient to use those units. So I will continue increasing slot strength. There was no much visual difference. It probably was less than 1% difference there. Speed, is only important if you're traveling on the map, but because we are in our own town, travel speed is 0 basically, so we don't need that. And morale, it means what morale does is when you fight a stronger opponent, at some point your warlord will retreat. If you start taking heavy losses, it will decide, nope, I'm not fighting back, it will retreat. This number, 40, in the top right corner, that shows its morale. And you normally don't want to increase it much, because if you set a very high morale and you are in a losing fight, your warlord will retreat much later, so you'll take much more losses. So just better leave them as they are. So we have finished setting up our warlord. Let's have a look how the fight goes. So we chose a goblin camp in our town. Its fighting strength is 4,300, and our fighting strength is 85,000. So we will win them for sure, very easily. So once the fight is over, the screen will show the results of this fight. So you get some experience, you get some resources, and but you have suffered some losses. So it shows fighting strength lost. So it doesn't tell you exactly how many units you have lost, because different units have different fighting strengths, and it could be a mixture of different units, but it roughly shows you how much you have lost. The more interesting part, again, unique feature of this game, is Fallen. So it says that Fallen returned 3. Fallen units are like ghosts. Every time you fight and you take losses, you lose your units, but they become fallen units. They become ghosts. And it will become important later in the game. Well, it's also important for specific use cases. So let's have a look at the top view. That's where you can see how many fallen units you have. You can see how much infantry you have, cavalry, and artillery, and also at the bottom, fallen. I only have fallen warriors, which is infantry, but in the same manner, you can have cavalry and artillery. So what it does, when we are close to finishing the game, and we are fighting on the final island to finish the game, to ascend eternally, you will be fighting with these fallen units. So if you don't have many fallen units, it will be very difficult for you to win the server at the end. So you also want them. So it's kind of interesting mechanics where you want to preserve your normal troops to fight wars, but also you want to actually spend them. So you have fallen that you will use at the end. I would only suggest that don't try to overly save your units, but also try to be efficient with the way you use your units. One more use case for this fallen is dungeon. So in your own town, in the top corner, you can, when you clean here, you will enter the dungeon, which looks like this. There is a main path which you can move across. You do that by fighting each individual point in the dungeon. So let's just try and fight this one, the next one. So when you purge the next level, which again I failed to do, I failed to do it because I don't have enough fallen units. I'm not strong enough to fight it. But once you fight and when you win it, you will move along deeper and deeper in the dungeon. And once you successfully clear, let me show you on this. This is an example where I can still clear something. So if you successfully clear the dungeon, I'll just skip to the end result, you will get some of the bonuses. It can be either resources or some tomes. These are kind of premium features in the game. Lets you speed up something, unlock something, or you can get artifacts. So in this fight, I received boots that will do some additional direct damage. So let's just close it. I'll close this view, and I'll go back to the Warlord. When I previously showed you the artifacts that I only had 2. Now I have 1 more. If I equip it, now my Warlord becomes a little bit stronger. So that's how you get items in this game, mostly from the dungeon. And that's why also having Fallen is important, because you will get stronger in the dungeon itself. Because here you only fight with Fallen. One caveat: in the dungeon, your Fallen, you don't lose them. So you fight them, but you keep them all. In the end game, when you're fighting to win the server, and you will be fighting with Fallen on the map, you will actually spend them. You will lose them. And okay, and this is all I have to share with you regarding the combat mechanics. And thank you for watching.